G'day everyone, Oscar here. Just finishing up on the last couple of runs of pretty shockingly bad sorghum crop. And I was just thinking as I was finishing up, we've had the worst season in about 60 years. But because of our practices of zero or minimum till, use of glyphosate and a bunch of other chemicals, use of residuals, we've actually been able to produce a crop that, 20 years ago, this would have been a failure. Nothing would have been harvested. Now, we've got it because we've got the technology that we need. But that technology and our ability to farm properly is under threat. As everyone in Australian agriculture knows, we are absolutely copping a hiding in the general press, in the online social media frame, and in the views of many Australians. As we've got our we've got one of the most urbanised populations in the world here in Australia. Our urbanised population don't understand the key elements of the science, the business, the technology and the production aspects of our industry in a way that they used to. They used to understand this better, and they don't understand it, and they're causing political issues, debates in the media that have real consequences for us. If we ban glyphosate, I don't have a crop at all in a year like this. So it got me thinking, what are we doing? Well, I'm harvesting sorghum. Sorghum goes into the GRDC levy streams. The GRDC is a government-owned rural research development corporation. Now, there's a problem. GRDC isn't collecting any of the levy dollars that come out of this crop, not that there's going to be many, but they're collecting those levy dollars. They're using them on research. They're not using them on industry integrity programs. They're not able to go out there and do a marketing campaign to push the scientific reasons behind why we need to be using our chemicals that we're using or why we're putting on fertilizer. GRDC can't do that. It's a fundamental problem in agriculture that we have at the moment. Now, we all know, whether it's the live export industry under attack from increasingly extremist animal rights activists, whether it's the MDBA and the issues with Menindee fish kills, attacks on irrigation communities, and the absolute bombarding of the cotton industry in recent weeks, every intensive animal industry, every crop production industry, horticulture, it doesn't matter what you do in Australian ag, you are under the gun from one interest group or many. And unfortunately, we're not likely to ever have a political solution to this. If we want to fix this, if we want Australian agriculture to have the imagery and the ability to produce without restrictive and impractical regulations put upon us, we need greater communication of the science. Now, we're not doing well enough. There is some fantastic groups, individuals, small communities, peak bodies. There's so much wonderful work going on. I don't want to diminish that. I don't want to say, hey, you're useless. But realistically, any strategic assessment of the scene that we're in right now would tell you we are losing. We're losing this battle badly. It's like the Taliban fighting against the US military. Absolutely outgunned. How do we get the power? How do we get the strength behind our messages? There's nothing wrong with the veracity of what we're saying, but we just don't have the ability to push it out there wide enough right now. How do we do that? Well, you've got to go back and think about a saying from a famous Roman senator, Cicero. He said, "The sinews of war are infinite money." That's what we need in agriculture. We need to spend tens, hundreds, thousands of times more as an industry as a whole and as individual industries. And we're not going to do that through our current models. State farmer organisations and peak bodies are absolutely skint. They are doing tremendous work. Like New South Wales farmers have the Farmer magazine, a really active media team. They're pushing articles, getting their people interviewed all the time. Wonderful stuff. Cotton Australia's doing great stuff. Cattle Council also doing good work, but Cattle Council's got something that other industries don't. Now, I've worked for Cattle Council, Lot Feeders Association, MLA, AgForce, and I've been a member of New South Wales Farmers Association. I had some involvements with Grain Producers Australia and GPA and Cotton Australia. I've got a bit of an understanding of how these groups work, and the one thing in all my years of experience with that, both as a staff member and as a grower, is that what we need is a system where every single farmer is contributing via a levy to a fund that goes into industry integrity and industry promotion. Now, the way that MLA does this is through its marketing component of the cattle transaction levy, and also the sheep and goat industries also contribute. So the red meat industry has a model that I think we all, in all agriculture, need to think about. If we went to an MLA model where we've got a grower, not government-owned corporation, so my grains levies go to GRDC, which because it's government-owned, it's not doing marketing. It's not working hand in hand with the peak bodies in the grain industry to create a strategic program. It's not measuring the quantitative measurements of support or aversion to our industry that other industries can and will and are doing because they have a different structure. So we need the grains industry and other industries that are government-owned RDCs to change what it's doing, to collect levies from grain growers like myself. And like I said, I'd be thrilled, I'd be absolutely fucking stoked if some of the money out of this sorghum crop could go into defending publicly the practice that allowed it to be grown. I mean, that's a great win for me. I'm not an expert on communications. I'm a farmer. I've done a little bit of it, so I do a bit on Twitter and that sort of thing, but it's nothing. I need to see my industry as a whole, with the horsepower, the funding, the strategic analysis, the quantitative measurements of consumer and voter attitudes, all the stuff that I can't do, only a well-funded RRDC doing marketing work can do that. So I just want everyone to have a think. If you want the situation where agriculture is under a siege to stay the same, we'll do nothing. Keep doing what we're doing. Good work to those that are doing the individual stuff and the small level stuff, that's awesome. Good work to people that are working with their peak bodies and the SFOs, that's awesome. Kudos to you. But realistically, any strategic analysis says we're not going to win if we keep fighting the battle the same way we have done. We need that order of magnitude or more bigger increase in funding. The only way to get that is by changing the structure of your RRDCs so that they do a marketing component. Now, farmers will have to pay for it, but realistically, we should be. A mandatory levy going into marketing, of which a large subset is industry integrity program work. That allows the RRDCs to work together with the peak councils under the umbrella of the NFF. And that allows us to do the sort of things that farmers want. You know, I was at a New South Wales Farmers Association branch meeting this week, and the question comes up, and it comes up all over the country. Why is an NFF launching a campaign, spending millions and millions of dollars on TV and print media advertising so that we can tell people in the cities, this is what irrigation does, this is why we use glyphosate, this is why we're really good land managers of our ecosystems. Now, all these messages are true, but NFF can't do that. NFF can't spend millions of dollars, nor can the state farmer organisations. They simply are skint. They don't have the funding. They don't have the capabilities to do it. And I think in agriculture, frankly, any voluntarily funded group like those is never going to have the amount of money that we need for this kind of big, emergency, fast and effective, hard-hitting campaign to put these issues away before they become a threat to us politically. Now, this is just my idea, but I think if you agree, then it's time for you to stand up and do something. We need to use the current crisis as an opportunity to talk with our RRDCs, to talk with our peak councils, to talk with our neighbours, talk with other levy players, and to talk with MPs, federal MPs. They're the ones who can change it. The Third Act is the governing piece of legislation that defines what the RRDCs can do in their structure. And I think if we push for a change in that to get marketing and industry promotion levies paid by every single industry and therefore every single levy payer, then I think we've got a chance to change the current siege of agriculture. And I think if we don't, well, we won't. There you go, folks. hope it's all going well. Something for you to think about. Be in contact on Twitter if you want to have a chat. And yeah, hope the season turns for those who need it. Best of luck to you all. Cheers.